Howdy folks. This is a 2007 Chevy Tahoe. The customer complaint initially was that the remote doesn't work, but that's not 100% true. The lock and unlock functions do work, but the remote start and the power tailgate do not. I've already fixed the power tailgate. It had a bad limit switch in the latch mechanism. So we got a new latch straight from the GM mothership. We got that fixed up, no problem. But the remote start is a little more complicated. Anyway, the customer wants it fixed. It's getting cold outside, so we're gonna fix it. All right, folks, I should not try to record videos on Mondays or Fridays. This place is a madhouse. Anyway, ALLDATA has a section about remote vehicle start diagnostics. Under the diagnostic aids, there is a whole list of conditions that will cause the system not to work. So vehicles in valet mode, hazard light switch is on, vehicles not in park, accelerator pedal greater than 0. But the ones that jumped out at me are this one. The vehicle hood is ajar. I actually didn't know that the remote start wouldn't work with the hood open, so that's kind of important to keep in mind. Usually the hood's going to be open here in the shop. But the one that we're interested in, I think, is the last one. A current vehicle DTC that illuminates the malfunction indicator lamp. So that basically means that if your check engine light is on, your remote start doesn't work. And the check engine light is on in this truck. It has a code P0442, which is an evap small leak. I know it's almost unheard of to have small evap leaks on a GM, but sometimes it does happen. Anyway, I think there's no point going any further with our diagnostics until we figure this out, find the evap leak, fix the evap leak, clear the P0442, and then hopefully, if all these other conditions are met, the remote start system will work. All right, just to prove the concept, I went ahead and cleared the codes and closed the hood. Why you no work? Huh. Stand by. Let's try with the doors locked. There we go. So that's it. We got to fix the P0442 and we should be good to go. It's got the port. There we go. Whoa, baby. Stay. To find the leak, we're going to use the leak tamer. It's a smoke machine, so when I kick this guy on, it puts out a small amount of pressure and a large amount of smoke. Stick that down into the Schrader valve here for the evap system. Then we have to use our scan tool to bidirectionally close the canister vent valve. The system will not build pressure with the vent valve open. The vent valve is normally open, so you got to command it closed. If you don't have the scan tool, you just have to block off the canister vent manually. I usually use some hose pinch-off pliers. Same thing with the Chrysler. Chrysler uses the, what do they call it? NVLD system, natural vapor leak detection. So it basically just has a check valve instead of a vent valve. You can't block it off electronically, so you just got to use the hose pinch pliers. Anyway, this thing has a flow gauge here, and right now it's telling us that it has a pretty large leak. It's also still building pressure, so it's going to take a while for that to settle down, but We'll see in a minute here. It should settle down somewhere between 40 and 20. It's usually where the small leaks show up. I don't know, folks. There is definitely a leak, a small leak. You can see it on the flow gauge, but I cannot see smoke anywhere. I've checked all the usual places. Can't see it, but I can smell it. It's right here in the area of the fuel tank. I can smell a strong gasoline smell. It's not the purge valve. It's not the vent valve. I'm thinking, just based on experience with these older GMs, it's probably the fuel pump. It's a plastic tank, but it's a steel, well, usually it's a steel pump, or at least a steel lock ring, and they get all corroded and rotten on the top of the tank, and yeah, the lines break off, or it cracks the top of the pump. So I think we're gonna have to drop the tank in order to identify this problem. All right, the filler neck's loose. I got a couple of the lines loose. I got one more there I gotta get when the tank's drop down a little further. And then I've got the bolts backed out most of the way on the straps. So we should be ready to let this thing down. We're actually pretty lucky. The fuel tank's basically empty, but still kind of awkward. So we're gonna use the transmission jack. And we'll also use the official fuel tank adapter. All right, folks, this thing's a pain in the behind. But the good news is, I think we made the right call. Our old friend rust strikes again. So we'll get her the rest of the way out of here, hopefully without hurting it or ourselves. It's kind of weird. You got to go down in the back and then slide it to the rear, because that cross member up there, the tank fits above the cross member and the cross member cannot be removed. That was a struggle. The biggest problem is this vent line. It literally runs from here to here. But GM decided in their infinite wisdom to run up over a cross member and then make a giant horseshoe shape. So you got to reach up underneath the thing and disconnect this giant, whatever it is, 3/4 inch disconnect. Anyway, we got her out. You see the problems we were dealing with here. Yeah, it's not going to work like that. I actually cut this one off because we're going to have to excavate what's left of this steel nipple from this quick connect. Guess we should probably do that before we get the fuel pump opened up. Most of the time we end up destroying these things, or at least destroying the inside of them. So we'll try, but if we don't get very far, it's no big deal. We'll just push on a new one. folks, believe it or not, I got it out of both quick connects. And I don't think I completely destroyed them. So we're going to put this back together with some new O-rings. These are special Viton O-rings. This thing is a flex fuel. So we got one O-ring and then a spacer, followed by another O-ring. And then this collar. Which is probably the most mangled part. But I think it'll live. There we go. And then the lock. Beautiful. Looky, looky. Wow. Jeez. I had to do something you're not supposed to do. Well, folks, I'm sure the safety patrol here on YouTube is losing their minds, but desperate times call for desperate measures. Nothing exploded, so, you know, no harm, no foul, as far as I'm concerned. All right. Shut the door, buddy. Mom's coming in? Okay.
Do you have some big batteries?
Big batteries.
We need it for what we're playing.
Like D-cell batteries? I guess that's it. Two different options. Where were we? I guess we were ready to install this pump. You do have to transfer the sending unit from the old pump, which is kind of hokey. But that's how they do it. course, you'll need the correct fuel pump lock ring spanner wrench. There it is. Cool. This is an AC Delco pump, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that. We're not going through all this work to put in some junk aftermarket pump. There we go. All right, folks, got her installed. This job should be done. Got one connection there at the front, and then everything else is at the back. So we got two for the filler neck and two up there on the charcoal canister. There's one supply line on the fuel pump and a couple of wiring connectors. Yeah, it's a pain in the ass to get this thing out, but putting it back in is a breeze. Of course, it's designed to go in. It's not really designed to come out. Everything just clips together. Yeah, let's set her down, see if we still have a leak. Got our vent valve closed. It's like New Year's Eve. We're just waiting for the ball to drop. Takes a while to pressurize the system. Come on, little buddy. You want to see it below 20 thousandths. That's the orifice size. So usually the threshold is 20 thousandths is a small leak, and above 40 thousandths is considered a large leak. And the evap system can tell the difference. Somehow I forgot that every vehicle I work on has a junk battery. So we got interrupted, but yeah, we're looking good. Very good. Good enough to call it a day. All right, folks. That's it. Thanks for watching. Definitely the long way around the barn to fix this. To fix this. To fix this. To fix this.